All right. Just wanted to check how many people registered. Okay, let's go. So, see my screen? Yes. Perfect. All right. Let's go. I would say welcome, everybody, to today's webinar. It's about winning high-ticket IT contracts without a sales team. And I think this is interesting for IT freelancers and IT businesses, so entrepreneurs. And today we want to talk about some discoveries, simple strategies, so to say, how we can land projects, clients, actually transform or make our IT business scalable, especially for 2025. Maybe upfront, how we are going to tackle this. Here's a little agenda. So I'm planning maximum 60 minutes, depending on the questions that come. Questions can be asked towards the end, and usually start with an introduction of myself for the ones who don't know me, and then we are going to the problems and the challenges that we are currently facing in the IT market, and then I want to give you a solution and a roadmap on how to solve these problems and challenges. Let's get right on. So, for the ones who don't know me, I'm Patrick McKibney, business mentor, entrepreneur. I've started as a consultant, became a freelancer, became a founder, managing director. I'm gonna talk about that shortly after. Actually did my exit and became an IT business mentor. Over 15 years of experience in the consultant industry, focus on the DACH market and also North America. My focus, my personal IT focus, is SAP and Microsoft. That's where I have my consulting companies, where I was a consultant, where I was a freelancer. I founded an SAP BI and banking consulting company, and also specialized supporting in independent IT expert companies in setting and expanding their consulting business from 6 to 7 or even higher ranges when it comes to the figures in revenue. I'm the co-founder of one of the leading Microsoft Dynamics companies in the German market, but that I actually exited. And I'm the founder of McKibney Mentoring and Coaching. Just presenting the webinar today. We are helping on establishing, transitioning, and scaling IT freelancers and IT companies. And a little bit personal stuff for the ones who are interested. German Canadian, living in Cyprus. Big family here. Actually, everybody from Germany is currently sitting here, getting ready for Christmas, and a very pet-friendly person. All right, here's my personal journey, so you can maybe relate to the one or the other stages, and that's actually also something that's very interesting and important to understand. I myself started as an employee back in 2008 and quickly became a freelancer, specialized back then in the SAP BI market till 2013. Then I became, how I emphasize it, a solopreneur. I started my first consulting company in 2013, focused on SAP BI and banking, as said already, and we cracked the 1 million revenue mark 1 year later. 2015, we founded Kinkabit with the focus on Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Power BI. Until 2022, we scaled it international to roughly 100 employees and 10 million sales turnover. And then I became a mentor because I exited my companies. I sold the companies in 2022. And since then, I made it my vision and my mission to specialize in helping other IT freelancers, as well as entrepreneurs to start and scale their IT business. I believe that's why we are sitting here today. And that's what we want to really, really focus on, the problem and the challenges, and obviously the solutions and your key takeaways for today. Why this webinar matters to you today, this evening. And I'd like to start with a little bit of a question round. Typical questions that I'm pretty sure you've heard yourself saying, or others complaining maybe about, that your project gigs, so your clients, simply don't have enough, or they're not big enough to pay for the bills. That means for paying the running costs, the operative costs. It's more and more of a challenge, especially when you're growing. This becomes a challenge. I'm speaking out of experience. And I know that I was tired of being dependent of recruiters and headhunters. That was a live speech right now. I would ask everybody to raise his or her hand that says, yes, I'm a little bit tired of being dependent of recruiters and headhunters. And I believe some people are also raising their hands here in the meeting. I am looking on the right. I have my MacBook here, so don't be confused why I'm looking to the right sometimes. Another question: are you tired of getting no answers from project platforms such as Freelance, Freelancer Map, and all that? All those platforms that we know and we have, or more or less, forced and used to use. And that's something that I definitely was tired of. And another question: are you tired of justifying to your customers why you spend so much time and discuss the invoices afterwards, especially when we are purely running on time and material? Happens all the time, happens to us, that we need to justify why we spent that time on the project, and then obviously also recorrect invoices afterwards. Highly dependent of your clients. So, moreover, of not knowing how to get in contact with the end customers and work on your own terms. This is a vital point. And are you tired of not knowing how to build a sound foundation for your IT business to be able to eventually scale in the future? And it's also important to understand what scaling actually means, because it can be a diverse term. Breaking into the high value client market is something that we are going to focus and specify on today. And obviously the last question: are you struggling to standardize, respectively productize your service offering? I believe everybody who's following me, the term standardize is pretty much my favorite term. So let's move on. Well, as already mentioned, you are not alone. I've been there, other clients have been there, other freelancers, other businesses have been there, are still there. And we want to take a look. So why we are attending today? What are the points that we will gain today? First of all, we want to focus on higher earnings. So we want to land contracts worth higher than 10,000 euros or dollars per month on a regular basis. So we're not talking about full-time outsourcing services where you're basically invoicing your hours, 160 hours per month full-time. Obviously, that's going to be higher depending on the market. That's also really not a business afterward. We want to take a look on how sales can be simplified, because that's the the headline of the webinar. How can this be simplified? How can be sales simplified? So we want to focus on relationships and not cold calls. Focus on the credibility boost, since we want to become the go-to expert in our niche. We definitely want to understand how we can leverage LinkedIn as a powerhouse, because that's simply a great tool to master lead generation without necessarily using ads. I said we want to build a scalable IT business. We want to work smarter, not harder, not more. We want to work with premium clients, or the clients that you actually want to work with. We want to focus on standardizing our service offerings. And we will discuss why and how to build a standardized service offering. Client acquisition, how to get in touch with clients to generate projects. Pretty simple. And we want to talk about, that's something that we focus on, creating a positive cash flow. How to charge upfront and not after the work has been done. And I believe this is one of the biggest struggles that we actually have, is if we are doing everything after time and material, and we are invoicing after the work has done, then we have a payment terms, whatever they are, 7, 14, 30, 60, 90 days, we're constantly in a negative cash flow. It's a big, big point. If you want to scale your business, it means growing in whatever kind of term, by a team, by revenue, all together. It's very difficult if you don't have the liquidity, the cash flow. All right. After this webinar, you should know how to land premium contracts without aggressive sales tactics, because nobody likes that. We don't like it. You guys don't like it. I don't like it. Nobody likes it, being aggressive in sales. How to build trust and credibility with end clients. And we will know how to use your technical or our technical expertise to stand out, to be visible. And that's the fourth step, know how to use LinkedIn to get in touch with our audience, with our target audience. And number 5, how to standardize our service offering to deliver clear results to our clients. It's a very, very important point, because we want to be at the end result driven and also result measured. Result in terms of the quality of our work, not of the time that we are spending on our work. This is a roadmap that we created, that we are using for client and project success. It contains very simple steps that we are going to tackle today. Step 1, niche and positioning and ICP, ideal customer profile. We're going to go into an example afterwards. And I know this is a buzzword for a lot of people. Yeah, everybody's throwing that around, niche positioning, client avatar, or ideal customer profile. But I bet in 9 from 10 cases, everybody who is saying, I have that figured out, it's mostly not the case. They have a very, very clear and a very, very clear picture of your positioning. Step 2 is optimizing your LinkedIn profile for premium leads, because we are focusing today using LinkedIn. It's a very, very the simplest version of how to get clients and how to attract clients. Step 3, create a standardized service offering that wins contracts, that wins clients, not being measured solely in time and material. Step 4, is about building long-term relationships for recurring income, recurring revenue. And step numero 5 is become a value driver and not a cost factor for your clients. Very important point, the last one. I'm gonna dive deeper into that. So, step one, define your niche and positioning, find your ideal customer profile, ICP, the abbreviation. Why does this matter? Specializing helps us to stand out in a crowded market. Let me explain. Let's take the example Microsoft Dynamics 365 consultant. There's a lot of them outside. Same goes for SAP consultants, whatever kind of focus, SAP BI or SAP HANA migration expert, what doesn't matter, Salesforce. If we're one in many, so in a very crowded market, the only way to become visible to clients is standing out. And the good thing is that mostly freelancers or businesses are not really focusing on standing out, on specializing. And specializing means defining your niche and positioning. I'm gonna get some examples here as well, but how to do it? It's very simple. Identify industries, branches, where your skills that you have solve urgent problems for your clients. For example, you can be a cybersecurity for fintechs, cybersecurity company or cybersecurity freelancer for fintech. Instead of saying I'm a cybersecurity consultant, now you're specializing on the industry. Or we are specializing on helping small, medium-sized enterprises increasing their sales by whatever, XX% by focusing on leveraging their Microsoft Dynamics sales 365. Or we are helping, or we are focusing on making making our clients' profit and loss statements more transparent using Power BI. So we are moving a little bit away from the technology focus because specialization usually goes into a business area and not purely a technology. Yes, we are in IT, and it's very important with what technology we are working, but the niche and positioning starts looking at the businesses in the industry. If we are just saying we are doing, and that's the no-go, I'm a Microsoft D365 developer or consultant, you're one of many, the crowded market. If you're saying we are a Microsoft Dynamics 365 company focusing on helping fintech or startups or scale-ups companies, fintech area, it's completely different. Now you have a specialty, and now you're standing out because most people or businesses are not doing that. So it's really small variables that play a major role. The pro tip here is focus on clients with ongoing IT needs and budgets over the $10,000 or euro mark. And here, when you're defining your niche and positioning and your ideal customer profile, it's all about the problems, the pains that your clients have. We call it validating problems, validating pain points with our clients. We are using systems, we are using technology, but bottom line, there's always a business problem, a business urgent need that's being solved, because no end customer, no client is doing a project, is investing thousands or millions of euros because they're bored, actually want to solve a problem. Problems usually are business driven because businesses and business decisions are based on business needs. Technology comes usually second. There's many examples, obviously, where technology plays a major role. For example, if there's in SAP HANA migrations, you're kind of forced to migrate at some point to HANA, because SAP in that case is is shutting down the support in the future. Same goes for Dynamics on-premise or all other systems as well. But again, there's a business need behind because there's a process focus. So it really starts with being clear in what niche, in which kind of how your positioning is. And again, focusing on Salesforce or on DevOps, that's a technology, that's a skill. It's not a niche, it's not a positioning. And the ideal customer profile or the client avatar is so important and is being neglected so many times. You need to be clear, who do you want to help? SMEs or startups, scale-outs, SMEs, corporates, such a wide range. What's the industry factor? Which problems do they have? Which pain points? Be very clear about that. And that's because that's the basis, that's the foundation you're building your business on. Very important to understand that. Yes. The two. Optimize your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn, for the ones who don't know, is the #1 platform, the #1 business platform in the whole wide world with globally 65 million users and increasing. So it's pretty good to connect to decision makers in all kinds of industries. I always like to say, imagine 10 years ago or a little bit more that someone would have told you that there's going to be a platform which is basically for free. Maybe you want to have premium and Sales Navigator, rounded up maybe to 100 euros per month. That will give you the possibility to connect to all clients, to all decision makers, basically all in the whole wide world. And there's basically, back in the days, there were no restriction. I would have called that guy, that person, probably pretty crazy. But now we have this. This is pure gold. And basically, nobody is using LinkedIn for business. Very rarely that we are acquiring customers over LinkedIn. We started with this. I started with this basically 10 years ago with my first companies. Back then, you also had Bing. Facebook was coming, also good to use, obviously not the business, not the pure business focus. And still, it has changed. It has changed a lot in terms of content, but it hasn't changed that most people or businesses are still not leveraging it. That's what I want to talk about because it brings you so much potential for almost zero money. How to do this? Use a clear, benefit-driven headline. This is basically your USP, unique selling proposition, that's built up on your niche and positioning and your ICP, your ideal customer profile. So first layer, now we're talking second layer, USP. For example, helping SaaS companies streamline their IT infrastructure, helping freelancers or businesses scale to 7 figures, helping fintech companies introducing BI software. So whatever pops in your mind right now. So the headline already to your profile, and we are talking personal profile, company profile goes additionally, and they are mostly used for ads. Just for a little remark, we're not talking about paid ads right now. That's the first thing that people look. If you look on LinkedIn, that's the first thing you literally see. So that should be clear. And you should be, besides having, and I'm not even putting that on the slide, a professional profile picture and a good banner that represents you and your company. You should have showcase, means case studies or testimonials in your profile. You all have them because we've been in this sphere for a long time if you're not starting out today. You have references, you have case studies, you can get testimonials from clients from previous project, and that's gold on LinkedIn. It builds trust. And we should regularly post content. That demonstrates our expertise. So be clear of how you can help, USP, case studies, testimonials, and content. Why is this so important? And when I'm saying post content, you don't need to post content 3 times a day, but once or 2, 3 times a week should be good. Again, you become visible to others. I always say you can have a kick-ass company, a great offering, great expertise, but if you're not visible to the outside world, it's pretty difficult to get new clients. And again, we're not talking about purely getting something from the network, which we cannot influence. This is the problem, right? We cannot influence on tomorrow I need 5 projects because I have 5 new people on the payroll or the project ended. We cannot influence that. But we can influence on how we are generating leads, how we are becoming visible to potential clients. On the contrary, what we also often hear is, well, I'm trying to build up a website. It's very good. But at this point, if we are not leveraging or if we are not generating leads yet, constantly leads, and turning them into clients, I always like to ask the question, you have a great website, but how do you get visitors to the website? You want to invest a lot in SEO. The website is, in most cases, a simple representation of you and your company. It's the skills and experience. You build it up, you need to invest money, probably you're not going to do it yourself, and you need to get traffic on. LinkedIn does this for you. LinkedIn is already there. LinkedIn represents you and your company. You're not leveraging yet. If you start posting content, if you start posting some case studies, and here comes the pro tip, engage with your target audience, because we want to be social. It's a social media platform. And these days, we are forgetting that we want to be social on a social media platform. I'm not talking about sending weird messages. Hey, I've seen your profile. I think you need this and this. We don't want to sell vacuum cleaners. I know everybody here gets messages every day that people want to sell them something. And that's exactly what you don't want to do. We want to connect with people. We want to be social on LinkedIn, on a social media platform. We want to post relevant content that demonstrates what we have, skills, expertise, experience. We are building trust by doing that on a regular basis. We can start outreaching directly to people without trying to sell them something. This is so important. I'd say, look at what is happening to you and to your profile and do exactly the opposite. But if you're starting, if you're having a very clear picture of your niche, your positioning, of your ICP, of your USP, combining that with some project case studies you've done in the past, and now you're starting producing some content. Don't need to do videos from day one. But a good post in today's world with AI, that should be possible. And now you start engaging. And don't forget, all kinds of clients are in LinkedIn. Small companies, big companies, they're all using LinkedIn. They're looking for people, they're looking for staff, they're looking for help, they're looking for freelancers, they're looking for companies. Businesses use LinkedIn to do all that stuff. So we as service providers, we also need to step in. It's like a dating platform if you want to have it. But we need to be visible. And that's the bottom line that I'm really trying to emphasize here. We don't need to become influencers. But we need to get visible. You can read so much out of LinkedIn when you search for clients. What are they looking for? You can see maybe job posts where they need support, in what kind of area, all that jazz. Super, super powerful. All right. Be social on social media. And, second pro tip, just look on how others are using LinkedIn, other companies, other experts. There's really no secret. We don't need to have the best posts. It's about posting. It's about becoming visible and engaging. You can then have inbound leads, people that are interested from what you are writing or talking about, and outbound leads when you are directly reaching out to your target audience. And we've been leveraging this for 10 years now. And I can tell you from experience, LinkedIn was very wild a couple of years ago. It got a little bit more restricted, but back then there was no limit, and that were fun times. But still, is super, super, super good and helpful. All right. Step 3: create a standardized service offering that wins IT contracts. Why does this matter? As said before, we want to focus on high ticket clients. They expect personalized, result driven proposals. I always hated it when my work is purely measured in the time I'm investing. As I don't need to explain you, the more experience you will get, or your colleagues or your team, the faster you usually will work and the less you will earn. Because if everything is measured in time, a shorter time, smaller revenue, longer time, higher revenue. It's pretty empty, I would say. And that's why standardization of your service offering is so important. And a little remark here, I'm not saying that it replaces time and material. It's a very important addition to the portfolio. How to do it? Focus on the pain points of your clients and the outcomes, not just the service behind. I always like to think of, if you on a meta perspective, what do you actually want to achieve with your client? If this is the starting point and this is the end point, what steps do we need to pursue that you get your client here? Happy client, end result, very good. And I know this can be very complex the bigger the projects are. Maybe another remark, when we talk about standardized service offerings, we usually like to call them door openers. Door openers means if we have a standardized or productized service offering, we answer the typical 3 questions beforehand. They're included. What are the 3 typical questions we get in a sales cycle? How long does it take? How much does it cost? What will I get? If we answer those questions beforehand, well, it's pretty clear because our package delivers A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It takes us 6 months and it will cost 60,000 euros. Those questions are pre-answered. So, and that's the door opener package that I like to call when standardizing, meaning if we approach step 2 on LinkedIn, new clients, or they are reaching out to us. So they're cold, meaning we haven't been engaging with them. We don't know them. We haven't worked with them, so to say. they will not open the door and say, well, awesome, we have here a 300 man days project. Do you want to do it? Doesn't really happen that often. What do we want to do? We want to build up trust. We could build up trust by delivering fast results. And we could deliver fast results if we know exactly what we will be delivering over and over again. So we're basically opening the door with standardized service offerings, delivering benefit to the client in a shorter period of time, that then opens the door to bigger projects based on time and material, where the sales cycle is usually longer because we have requirements, which are, we all know it, never really required and defined. Then we need to estimate, and bing, 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 and we get, at the end, we have a proposal. But with a standardized offering, we have a very, very short sales cycle because, again, budget, time, and result are already answered. And we can only build this up if we know the pain points and the outcomes that we want to deliver, not the service, not the how. The how we are getting there is second priority. And we want to include a clear return on invest calculation that highlight the value you provide. And it's very difficult at some point to calculate the ROI, the return on invest of our services. Alternatively, I always say use a value-based approach to calculate your price. That's usually if you estimate the steps in hours or in days and multiply them, for example, by 1.3, so you have a 30% risk factor on top. And that's a very, very easy step to calculate your first package price. Obviously, use professional templates for polished and a credible presentation. What you have, you need to present to the client. Obviously, it looks pretty shiny. A pro tip, and this is very, very important to understand. 9 from 10 cases, all you need is a repackaging. What does that mean? Repackaging means that you don't need to change your service, your offering, how do you deliver to the clients. You need to wrap it up differently, market it differently, repackage differently. Now you're basically offering Zapana business process consulting for whatever, 200 euros per hour. But now you're offering maybe a pre-HANA migration package, which leads to an MVP, to a POC, so a proof of concept or pilot that leads to an MVP to the full implementation. But you build step for step. It's just a repackaging or an actual packaging if it hasn't been packaged before. I hope that it's clear, because it's a very, very important point, and it's good because it's not that hard to repackage it. Just a little bit marketing. Alrighty. Build long-term relationships for recurring income or recurring revenue. That build up on the third step. You want to have, this is why it matters, retain clients to reduce your workload and create consistent revenue. How to do this? First of all, now reminisce what I just said. Standardized service offerings, door opener packages, build trust, opens the door to big TMM projects. So we want to deliver beyond the expectations with excellent communication. That's what we mean. At the very beginning, if you have the shot, if you're reaching out to a cold client, or a cold client is reaching out to you over LinkedIn, and you get a shot, Now you have a very specific package that you want to deliver. Maybe it takes four weeks, for example, to implement a rapid sales deployment in D365. What we did, by the way, very often, how we were able to scale. It's very clear. In those 4 weeks, you already know what you're delivering. I don't need to, reinvent the wheel. Oh, God damn, this new client, what are we gonna do? It's all clear. I already know what we're doing. It doesn't matter if the client is in this area or that. It's the same. It's a standard implementation at the beginning. So we're gonna implement the standard. That will open the door to a bigger project because then there's a fit gap. That's basically done in T&M. Out of the fit gap, there will be an implementation. After the implementation, there will be go live and hypercare support and afterlife support. That's why we offer ongoing support packages that's tailored to our client needs. And relationship is the key. Keep this alive. And use LinkedIn, again, making the connection to the third step, that's really leveraging the platform to share your industry insights and your proactive solutions. And how it is easiest to build long-term relationships with your clients? Make it easier for your clients to work with you rather than not. It sounds stupid and it sounds silly, but if you think about it, if you have the right package and you know that your standardized or your service offering is helping the client on a long-term base because you're solving the long-term problems, and it's easy to make a decision. And then you're already packaged it. He or she knows what they get, in which time, for how much money. It's very easy to make a decision for any decision maker in a company. And this is the most important step besides all other, but I think this is something that it's more towards a mindset. What has happened this year in 2024? IT market is going up. All statistics show it, billions of euros. But we feel it's going like this. But it's going like this. Obviously, there's an economical crisis, inflation, all that jazz. We know that. What happens is that clients, so customers, obviously want to cut costs. 2024, 2025, even more. And they usually want to increase revenue. And if we are purely a freelancer or a business, and we are standing for SAP development or Microsoft D365 development or whatever, DevOps, without a clear end result, a benefit for the client, you will be here. You will be a cost factor. And cost factors, especially in crisis, will be decreased because costs will be decreased. We want to be value drivers with our freelance or IT business. Because if we bring value, we usually increase revenue or whatever kind of value we can bring to the client. But there's really two things. That's now from a financial perspective. If you look at a balance sheet or profit and loss statement, you have cost and earnings, cost and value, decrease, increase. That's the game of a business. So if you now think, how do your clients or potential clients are perceiving your business, your service? Are they seeing it as a necessity to simply survive and they don't really like to spend on it because you're basically just, maintaining a system, and at some point that system anyway will be hopefully shut down, and thus being on the cost factor side, well, would be nice to get rid of those guys, but right now, maybe in 2025 we can do that. Or are you being perceived by your clients as these guys or this guy, they bring so much value, they really helped our businesses to strive because they really gave us a new sales system and Salesforce. Now we could really leverage our sales. We increased our sales by 30% over the last half year globally because we have a clear sales structure. Where do you want to be? You have to be on the value driver side. And that's why you have to have the niche positioning ready, your ideal customer profile, the understanding of your clients, a standardized service offering, using LinkedIn to get in touch. The very, very simple version. There's many more versions where I'm not tackling, but LinkedIn is the easiest. You want to be perceived as a value driver and not as a cost factor. And this is so important, like really write this down. If you have questions, this is one of the most important points. You can also ask me after the webinar, send me a private message. But just ask yourself how you are being perceived from your clients. And this should be hopefully understandable. All right. And now how we can solve this, how we are usually solving this. I like to look at this on a 6 to 12 month timeline. You might have your service offering 1.0. You want to create your IT service offering 2.0 and build a foundation for a scalable IT business. Yeah. And I usually like to say these are the milestones that we are going through this first 6 to 12 months. That's how I'm building up my businesses, how I build up my clients, my own businesses, and the businesses of my clients. Niche positioning. Talked about this. ICP, including pain points, talked about this. USP, talked about this. Standardized service offering, talked about this. How to price it, talked about this. Validate it with your clients. So important. Everybody neglects that. We can create all that jazz if we're not constantly validating that with our clients. Well, we can assume it's good, but assumptions don't really win. And we established lead gen marketing and sales 1.0 and 1.0 versions, for example, using LinkedIn. We also talked about this. This is usually done on a 6-month timeline. You look at a little bit further ahead, then you can tackle client delivery with a new offering, fulfillment optimization. You can outsource your lead gen marketing and sales in the 1.0 version. Outsourcing means building up AI, for example, that helps you do that. Very, 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 very nice tools these days that really help you. Lead gen 2.0 that builds up on that, more or other methods to reach out to your clients to become visible. Not going to deep dive here. And then really building on top of that if that's wanted. Again, why is this for us as freelancers and entrepreneurs in the IT biz so important? Why we constantly fail? And that's something that I experienced myself. We have unknown methods, unknown processes. Yeah, we are expert in what we do, in our IT niche, in IT consulting, IT development, infrastructure, whatsoever. But usually, and I'm included in this back in the day, we are not managers, entrepreneurs. This is something that we need to learn. We like to be lost in details. We usually have no sparring partner and no accountability. We are our own boss who keeps us accountable. It's easier said than done. This is a struggle that everybody has. Maybe, and pretty sure, we have wrong beliefs and a wrong mindset. Wrong mindset meaning we don't know a lot of things, so we automatically have a mindset or objection against new things. Nobody gives us feedback. We might not have clear projectable goals. Maybe no clear step-for-step process how to reach these goals. And this is definitely very, very important. We always have bottlenecks that we don't know. And we are usually focusing on the wrong things. I've done that so many times. I cannot tell you how painful that was. And if we want to then try to scale, and scaling means we want to grow our business, we have the risk that we are using unvalidated methods. No customer validation. How we are solving this usually? We went through all the points already. And we have definitely how we are helping our clients here is one-to-one support. 24/7, giving really insights on how we are tackling these points that we just discussed in detail. We have accountability partners with other companies. We have live calls that really focusing on the different topics. Is it, for example, LinkedIn or sales calls, even paid advertising for more advanced people or businesses? We have a continuous feedback process with me and our team. 24 support, one-to-one calls. We have experts in all industries or areas, for example, lead gen, marketing, sales, design, ads, SEO, that comes step after step in place. Yeah, we have masterminds where we can work together in person. We have online platforms, we have templates, we have contracts that are usable for our business. And I'm making a vague suggestion that probably the contracts that most people or businesses are using are improvable. Because, for example, if you standardize your service offerings, you should have contracts that also charge up front. And, GDPR and all that jazz that we should have, Datenschutzbeauftragter and all that really fancy stuff, right? We have community, we have proven frameworks, and we have very individual plannings. And that's how we are focusing on scaling IT businesses in 2025 and how we are solving this with our clients. Yeah. That's something that you can think of if you are more interested. Obviously, we also need to make a little outlook into the next year. That's also something that we are helping our clients, our community with. We have 6 and 12 months packages. And it's Christmas, so we still have some discounts ready for anyone who is interested. Here we will share obviously the presentation. There's a booking link. You can book a call directly with me and my team, and we can speak about how we can help you here making those steps that we just had on how to win high-ticket clients in 2025 without building a sales team up right from the start. Then we will share this link and the presentation afterwards, obviously, for all attendees. And now it's the time for a couple of questions and answers. We are pretty much in time. Say this worked very well. And I'm going to wait and see if anybody has a question. And let's see. Trying to open the chat here. So. Let's try this here. So there we go. Lead generation, how identify really has a need that has that specific pain point, whom to address. approach. A very, very good question. Let's divide the question. How to identify who really has a need? A little bit research, I would say. So if you're, for example, using LinkedIn or even Sales Navigator, at the end, it's the same result. Easiest way is, for example, looking on the feed of the company or the decision makers of the company. They usually use LinkedIn for content. Can be, for example, maybe they have job announcements that say we are looking for help, or we are growing our staff here. We need DevOps infrastructure consultants in our company. So that if you see one of those posts, or even on the website of potential client, build a lead list, you can see that. So that means, okay, they probably have a need. They probably search for something because they have problems. That's something very, I would say, situational. That can always happen. More important is that you know your potential clients and you validated the problems, the needs, pain points that they have, because then you can really, with simple outreach or content, you can identify via your posts or in a very light direct outreach message if they have such a problem or need. So that tackles the need, or that has that specific pain point. You can research it or use simple message strategies on how to get to know that without being salesy. This is so important. Whom to address and approach. What is your ideal customer profile, your client avatar? If you're reaching out to CEOs for startup and scale up, then you approach directly the CEOs. If it's bigger SMEs or corporates, you might reaching out to the CIO or the CFO, or even use other or lower layers, for example, the project managers or the program managers, if it's a bigger SME or in a corporate. That's why we are saying it's very important to understand who is your target audience, who's your client profile, because that's the guy or the persons, the people, it's a plural, obviously, that you want to approach and you want to address, because you know they are decision makers, or they influence the decision maker. The bigger the company, the less likely we directly get in touch with the decision maker or the decision maker. If I'm now reaching out to Volkswagen, I'm not going to get the CEO, but they have many layers. But maybe I know a project or program manager that can reach out to them, because I know that maybe they posted something on LinkedIn, for example, or on the website that they're looking to build up IT infrastructure team for DevOps. Now you have something, and now you can get in touch. ICP here is the Zauberwort, so to say. I hope that answered your question. Okay. Any other questions? 1 minute remaining. I assume that's a no. I really hope I didn't leave anybody out, because I have a problem with the chat function. Here is more. Here it works. Okay, here now it works. What are the main success? What are the main success factors to generate leads constantly via LinkedIn? What about LinkedIn outreach, lead magnet, LinkedIn automation, ads? Yes, that's so. That's 2.0, what we saw on the line. So I like to keep it simple at the beginning. 1.0, some content, some light outreach. Outreach in general works very good on LinkedIn. Something where we use all the time, and something that you never really stop. LinkedIn outreach, leverage your connection request with follow-up messages. What we have is a direct messaging framework that really guides and shows how to get not only in touch with clients, but also helps them lead through a conversation without being salesy and selling something to get people interested for a call. That's LinkedIn outreach. LinkedIn magnets, LinkedIn automation. Magnets, super good lead magnets. LinkedIn automation, it really depends on which stage you are. You can only automate what is working. Yes, you can use, for example, Dripify. That's something that everybody can write down. It's a great tool to, if you know that your connection request, your first and your second messages in LinkedIn are working with your target audience, you can automate it. For example, with Dripify or any other tools as well, that will do the outreach. And you're just doing the messaging. And there's obviously more automation tools that will help you down the road. Why I'm careful with automation, I don't like to automate things if they're not working yet. And that's something I see all the time. We are more focusing on automating things rather than making them work, especially with the AI this year, in this time. LinkedIn ads, I like to have proven framework and success in generating leads, getting them into calls, closing them, and doing projects. So winning them before I start with ads. Why? I don't want that anybody is wasting, let's call it wasting his or her money in ads. There's different theories. You can make a lot of A, B, C, D testing, obviously via ads, but you always have to put ad spend on. And I like to, at least to a certain point where you know that your linked and your outreach, your messages, your content is working, let's say 2-3 times, you have success, till you start putting that into ads. Because the other way is you're testing everything that we've spoken of right now in ads, but then you actually need to put money on ads. And believe me, LinkedIn is going to consume your money. Whoever has ever set an ad, doesn't matter in Meta, Google, or LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very aggressive ad platform, meaning they consume what you give them. So that's why I'm saying I'm a little bit careful. It depends on the stage, but let's say we have the first version of everything that we've spoken about today. It's ready and working. Then I definitely advise, and it's also what we are advising our clients, to start with ads. Can start with 25 euros per ad, for example, per day. We don't need to put a lot of ad spend on. Once we see an ad is working, by the way, very good ads, case study ads from your clients' projects. Super, super good. Then you obviously, if you see it's working, you put more ad spend on. But I'm advising to be careful because I've seen it many times differently in the past, and I like to have a more stable process and then put ads on top of that. Some information about the costs. The costs of what exactly? My costs. Well, it depends. It depends on your situation. That's why we tell to jump into the call, and then we will talk about what what package that we have fits to you. Because obviously we are praising that standardize your service offerings, but we don't have a one fits for all package. We look, are you more on the beginning stage of your journey? Are you more an advanced stage? Are you a business and really want to scale? We have our clients could be still people being employees and that they want to start freelance, advanced freelancers, businesses that want to scale to 1 million. And we have even a client that cracked the 10 and the 100 million. So we have a very wide range, and that's also depending on how our costs are. But I really advise, if you're interested, I'll drop the link and the presentation, and then we just book a call. It's entirely for free. That's obvious, and we can also tackle more questions. Okay. Was that helpful? Or Hans Georg? Anything I left out? I assume that is good. Guys, thank you. I'm happy that we managed a last webinar this year. I know it's already almost Christmas time. We're all jingling down the road. It's family time. So I also want to wish you a very Merry Christmas if we don't speak beforehand. And Happy New Year. But maybe we have the possibility to already speak and you can book a call. But if not, guys, very, very nice. Was a pleasure. Hope that you have a very good time. I hope you got some value. At any point, you can direct message me on all platforms, LinkedIn or whatever, if you have more questions. Yeah. So don't hesitate to do that if you have some questions. And obviously, if you want more, just jump. And be tuned. We're going to do that more and more often. Obviously, this last quarter, we really focused on physical events. Yeah, so I guess you all saw our mastermind that we did, more or less exactly a month ago here in Cyprus. We had around about 20 people here. And we did 1 week of really intensive sessions. I'm still recovering from that and all the drinks. And that's something we focus on, a lot of events, physical events. And now we're going to deep dive there. We will also have a very, very big event coming up for all IT freelancers and entrepreneurs. But we'll share that in the new year. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to drop the presentation and the link in the chat. Yeah, and you should all get it. If not, reach out to me on LinkedIn and I will send you there in case Teams making some problems. All right, guys, sayonara and have a nice evening. Thank you.